I'm Pat McGrew with McGrew Group, and with me once again is my colleague Ryan McAbee from Pixel Consulting. And we are here today for another Solimar video, and this time we're with Solimar customer Brian Ray from DataProse. And we did a really great case study with Brian a little while ago. And Ryan, we came up with some really cool information out of that, but what's your biggest question for Brian?
It's a how did they do it question. And what I mean by that is that there was an amazing stat that basically using Solimar toolstat in the parts of the chemistry suite and so forth, that you've been able to have year-over-year increase of clients using your PDF-based workflows in the tunes of over 400%. So right. How did you get to that point, basically?
Well, I think that the biggest part is we take a lot of client data in. That's what we've done in the past, and that's our forte. However, the industry is starting to trend a little bit. Instead of giving us data to create into print files sent to the printer, they're giving us PDF files, and that is where Rubica obviously comes in. And we've had a massive growth in that area from clients that are now, instead of sending us data, are migrating towards sending us PDF input, and we're able to process those using Rubica. And that's essentially how we've done it. You know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we had one client that had a PDF input, and now we're around 90 or 100, something like that. So it's just ramping up. So we've added Rubica servers, added people that are processing the files to set up the clients, and it's just growing.
Some of what goes into that 400%, is that the fact that you can onboard a lot more people more quickly, or Absolutely. Is it just that more people are finding their way to your door?
I would say maybe even a little bit of both. Obviously, if we're not creating the PDFs, then that's a long, tent in the pole for us as far as taking data, turning it into a print file. That part's already done. All we're really worried about at that point is making sure we have clear space for barcodes and addresses to stuff to go on the pages. We do, a lot of billing statements. And if we have that space, we can implement in just a few days at max, and that includes going back and forth with clients as far as approvals and whatnot. So we can implement fairly quickly that way, and that definitely helps in being able to onboard faster. And we only have just a couple of developers doing PDF input, whereas we have 4, 5, 6 people doing data input.
One thing I found interesting when we spoke earlier is that you're really leveraging and extending the life of your print platforms, it sounded like, because of the Solimar tool set. So how have you done that, and what's kind of the biggest improvement, or what's the bang for the buck, so to speak, by being able to do that?
As far as extending the print platform? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, as far as our offering, we used to kind of go, shy away a little bit from PDF stuff because we weren't really, very fluent in it. And now it's just like, yeah, bring it on. It's no big deal for us. So that makes it easy, especially when, instead of seeing that, cower when a client mentions that, now, we kind of glow when someone mentions that, because we know it's going to be a pretty quick implementation. And then even going further, what we used to have to do is we used to take PDF output, and then we'd have to convert it back to PostScript to send to the printers. Well, now printers are accepting the PDF natively, and we can handle all the special information that you used to not be able to do with PDF. And to throw one more thing on top of it, ReadyPDF has really helped us optimize those PDFs for print times. It reduces file size, so your rip times and stuff are a lot more efficient than they used to be.
I think a lot of people listening to this probably are in the same situation as you are there, in the fact that you don't have just one print platform either. So have you seen kind of improvements in being able to be flexible with your output because of the upfront tools, whether it's ReadyPDF or similar, to have to go to those multiple digital front ends that you probably have?
Right. I would say, so we did have a little bit of a learning curve when we went to roll feed, which is a CMYK platform, versus RGB. So we had a little bit of learning curve there to get past that. But as far as we run the gamut on different brands of printers inside our print facility. And PDF really is kind of stabilized that for us as far as what we're outputting. Matter of fact, in our other engines, we're outputting PDF as well. When sometimes we optimize them through the platform before we send them to the printers there too. So it's been nice.
So Brian, when we talked last, one of the things that you said is that it changed your approach to the kinds of customers that you could work with. And I was surprised that there were still so many people out there who were willing to send you data, given that everybody's so concerned about privacy and security. So are you finding more customers are interested in sending you PDF because they don't have to send you data that way?
I don't think it's really been an issue of security with where they send it to us versus data versus PDF. I think it's more so from the client side, how they work with their data provider as to whether or not they're sending us data or PDF.
Ah, okay.
So,
but you're versatile enough that you can handle either.
we can do either. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We can do either. So
that's great. So Brian, you've really given us a good insight into how the Solimar toolset is helping you achieve that 400% difference in the way you upboard. I just love the number. It's a scary number in one way, and it's one that you always have to prove when you start getting into the triple digits. People want proof, but we're hoping that people will download and read the case study from the Solimar website, because that gives a lot more detail than we have right here. And we hope that people will come back for another edition of our Solimar chats here. I'm Pat McGrew. My colleague is Ryan McAbee, and Brian Ray from DataProse, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to having more conversations.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.